Animals that get high. No chance. No chance, right? Animals get high. I know dolphins do.
Drugs. How prevalent they are in society today. There's so many, and they do a variety of things. Well, there's a million heated debates for every single one of them, and drugs as a whole. One thing is indisputable. Animals partake in the natural world as well. They're getting high in the oceans, on land, on every continent, it seems. I'm actually not sure about Antarctica. Maybe to be discovered. So for this video, I'm going to introduce you to some of the more well-documented cases.
Bat?
And maybe...
Was that a bat getting high off a watermelon? Yo, make that make sense.
Some you might have never heard of. And so, for the ambiance, I may or may not be partaking as well. For the ambiance, strictly for the ambiance. And for the ambiance that was consistent throughout the making of this video. So if you partake, perhaps you'll join me. Kick back and relax while I introduce you to some animals that like to get spaced. Now I'm falling.
I like her voice. Her voice is
coming to the space zone is pretty cool. I might have to come here more often. I'd say I'm nice and situated in the stone zone to introduce you to some stoned animals. Let's get the general information out of the way by starting off with what I actually mean by getting high. It can mean a lot of things. Super happy and stoked. High on life. You Get Me So High from Doja Cat's arguably best song. High on romance, if you will. That's not what we're talking about.
What is she yapping about?
We're talking about animals ingesting substances.
Oh, I know cats
psychoactive
get high with
substances.
catnip.
Chemicals that intensify or alter sensory experiences and patterns of thinking. Seem to make the animals act all twisted. Their behavior is different. You might start moving differently, reacting more slowly, making strange vocalizations, or seeming unusually relaxed. This can be from a variety of things. The classic categories you've already heard of: sedatives and depressants like ethanol, stimulants like caffeine or amphetamine, things like opioids and psychedelics, compounds that can distort perception, sensory processing, and cognition. So that's a lot more than just
these words are massive.
The world is large. Nature is vast. These compounds are plentiful in the forest. A variety of mushrooms, ayahuasca, adjacent vines, and more that animals get their paws on. So
an animal getting their hands on some ayahuasca, that's something to see. That's something to see.
For this video, getting high is going to mean two things. One, an animal is taking in a psychoactive substance that can alter its brain and behavior. And two, it's doing that in a way that looks at least somewhat intentional, like repeated, targeted interactions with a specific plant,
like
fungus, or toxin. Not just
I guess monkeys do too.
That's where things can get a little bit messy and also fun, because now we have to ask case by case, is this animal actually seeking out that altered state, or are we just watching a stoned rabbit fall out of a tree and projecting our own drug culture onto it? But first, a little history of psychedelics sample plate.
Right, because there's probably some animals that like they just but they're so evolved. I don't know. Like I feel like they're like eating like their natural food and then they accidentally eat a poppy seed or whatever the hell. Now they're high. Like, but aren't these animals like so evolved that like they understand like what not to eat? Like wouldn't they not accidentally eat a poppy seed? I don't know. She'll explain it.
We know of, in the evolutionary sense, not the 70s sense. There's many psychoactive substances, and many in a variety of organisms, plants, animals, fungus, etc. So each story is a bit different. I'm gonna hone in on one that human society is quite familiar with. As an example of why and how these substances naturally occur in the first place. We will use, you guessed it, psilocybin, i.e. the magic mushroom. Its intended use might seem directly connected to the human consciousness, opening it up. Ego death. I've never experienced ego death, but I imagine it feels like that. When you zoom out, it's clear the magic mushroom is part of a totally different story. I read this paper, Wherefore the Magic? The Evolutionary Role of Psilocybin in Nature. Hey, it was right on the nose. It was perfect. I'm sure it doesn't encompass the entire picture, since there's a lot of research on magic mushrooms, especially now for like medicinal use and therapy and stuff. So we're just gonna run through the paper as like, hey, here's this understanding of this element of how it came to be. You know, like here's this one slice, which will be helpful. Genetic evidence suggests that a genus of magic mushrooms, which we now know today as psilocybe, evolved the machinery to make psilocybin about 67 million years ago. Then over the next 10 million years or so, that machinery diversified to shit and even got passed to different fungal groups that had nothing to do with it via horizontal gene transfer. I talked about this a bit in the beetle video. Horizontal gene transfer is like, instead of evolving a new gene from scratch, an organism picks up a functioning gene from a totally different species, incorporates it into its own genome. And it didn't happen for nothing. It was obviously useful enough to stick around and get passed around. So where and why? On shit and rotting wood to keep little bug bitches from crowding up the spot. Around 67 million years ago, there was an expansion of dung and wood decay ecologically.
I love the way that she does her videos. Yo, I love when content creators do this because like typically the shit is boring, right? Typically the shit is boring, But Maya and Lindsay, I mean, shout out Lindsay, bro. Just discovered her. Thank you, Maya, for putting me on to Lindsay. Lindsay's super entertaining with it. I like it.
Niches, i.e. the cleanup crew. That's a very comfortable spot for fungus. It was also becoming a comfortable spot for invertebrates like worms and beetles. In order to protect what was theirs in this competitive landscape, it seems as though these chemical compounds were used by these fungal lineages to rock some shit. Invertebrates rocked in a bad way. A beetle minding its business, cleaning up some rotting wood, accidentally ingests a little bit of fungus, psilocybin enters the system, and boom, slow movements, boom, stunted growth, boom, wings get fucked up, i.e. the beetle has been neutralized.
So
Beetles won't be taking away the precious wood anymore. Fungus gets more wood. Lab work done with psilocybin and flies supports the idea that magic mushrooms are an invertebrate's booby trap worst nightmare. Our last common ancestor with invertebrates was around like 500 million years ago. So obviously we've evolved morphologically and physiologically very differently since then. We have very
Wait, so like beetles and flies and shit will get high? Is that what she's saying? I'm trying to keep up.
different things going on in our body than flies do. So it just so happens that this compound that destroys a fly does some pretty cool shit to our brains. Is it strange that many people who go and try magic mushrooms have an experience where they're like, damn, we're connected to everything. We're connected to the trees. We're connected to the animals. And that's actually biologically true? Hey, I think so. I think that's pretty weird. I think there's something to that. Maybe you had a realization like that on a lovely hike. It's summer. It's beautiful outside. You feel so accomplished. You're hungry. The thought of going home and cooking a whole meal sounds like a lot. Maybe you want to go in and out quick so you can head back outside.
In and out.
Eating healthy after a nice hike sounds like a move, but also sounds like it'll take too long. What's the solution, you say? Boom, Factor, the sponsor of today's video. Factor delivers chef-crafted.
Shout out to the sponsors. I'm gonna go ahead and skip it.
Box plus
scan the
free
QR
breakfast
code
for 1 year. That's code Lindsay Nicole FB50 at factor75.com to get 50% off plus free breakfast for 1 year. Offer only valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase. Thank you, Factor, for sponsoring this video. Now, back to the Space Zone. So, before we get into the first one, I do want to acknowledge that there's not a lot of scientific papers in this field of animals getting high. There are for certain stories that we're going to talk about, but a lot of them haven't been repeated in a lab setting for a variety of reasons. You know, you can analyze the behavior of an animal and say, hey, they seem pretty stoned, but they can't tell you. Obviously. So
imagine
we're
if they
start
could,
off with
though.
the most iconic non-human case. Dolphins getting high on pufferfish.
Yes!
Out in coastal waters, young and impressionable bottlenose dolphins have been documented passing a pufferfish around like it's a blunt. Not eating it, they're not hunting it, they're not fucking it up. Putting it in their mouth, maybe chewing it a little bit, passing it to the next dolphin. After a few minutes, they're stoned, drifting slowly just below the surface, staring at their reflections a little too long, looking at the floating particles around them like, whoa, like a dreamlike state. We all know the deal with pufferfish. They're loaded with poison, specifically tetrodotoxin, a neurotoxin that,
will that kill a human?
Doses, can paralyze and kill. In tiny doses, though, it can cause tingling, numbness, altered sensations as it messes with the nervous system. Have dolphins figured out how to microdose pufferfish? Let's check it out. This is like Action Bronson watches Ancient Aliens. I will admit, I used to watch that quite a lot in college. That looks like a great time. God, dude, that would feel so good. That would feel so good.
What would feel good?
And be high and just twirling around and shit. That would feel awesome. Pufferfish just comes in, provides a service, and he's on his way. Unlike Ancient
Does the
Aliens,
pufferfish get
and also
harmed?
unlike Action Bronson watches Ancient Aliens, I'm gonna hone back in on the facts of the matter. It can be tempting to run with an idea and put our own human experience, anthropomorphize what they're doing. Hey, we're having fun here, but let me reel it back in for a second and
anthropomorphize. Hey Siri, what does anthropomorphize mean?
Anthropomorphize means attribute human characteristics or behavior to a god, animal, or object.
That didn't even make sense.
let's look at things scientifically. These are quite striking observations. A group of dolphins, especially juveniles, deliberately seeking out pufferfish.
Anthropomorphize.
Showing unusual. Seems like they're getting high. But why? Let's pinpoint it from a behavior perspective. First off, it's not a one-off thing. It's a very specific pattern of behavior. The dolphins target the pufferfish, they pass it around to each other, and they don't eat it. They've done that more than once, and we've seen it. That repetition and specificity makes researchers perk up. Second, the dolphins don't seem scared or distressed. They're definitely not freaking out. They're definitely not in pain. They're just chilled the fuck out. Slow movements,
yeah, and they keep doing
hanging
it
near the surface, looking at little fucking particles in the water.
Do you think there's some dolphins who, like, they've tried to get high with their buddies before, but, like, they get a little too much anxiety, and so, like, whenever their buddy dolphins are over there getting high off pufferfish, and they're like, hey, yo, Tony, you want a hit of this pufferfish? And then Tony's the one that gets anxiety, and so Tony's like, you know what? I don't think I'm gonna do that today. I got something to do later, and I need to, I need to keep my head straight. But I appreciate you trying to bring me in, but I think I'm gonna pass this time. But the whole time, Tony just has like anxiety when he gets high off pufferfish. Like, do you think that that's like a real situation that happens with dolphins too?
Something they would typically ignore.
I like to think
that
about
lines up with what a low dose of a neurotoxin would do. Some would argue that sounds pretty on the nose for the title of recreational drug use. And some scientists actually do argue that this is basically dolphin teenagers experimenting. They found a way to turn a dangerous fish into a mild, controllable neuroactive experience, and they turned it into a social pastime.
How pissed do you think the pufferfish
They're
is?
playing around, they're being curious, makes them feel weird, and they like it. But other marine biologists have pointed out that this is classic dolphin shit. They play with fucking everything. Anything in the ocean, a jellyfish, a seaweed, even a plastic dolphin. They'll play with it. They're just curious little cats. So maybe the pufferfish is just another toy, a toxic toy.
I think
maybe
they
like
get high.
sniffing glue. Well, I guess people sniff glue to intentionally get high, so not like that. Unless kids used to accidentally get high being around glue back in the day because it wasn't kid safe yet. Anyway, like I was saying,
God,
some
I
researchers
used to.
argue this could just be another play thing, and getting high is an accident or a side effect rather than the intended purpose. And this is one of those things where, hey, communication with dolphins would be sick, so we could actually figure it out. Because for now, the case is not yet closed. The behavior is only suggestive. The toxin is, yes, real. The pattern is, yes, repeatable. But we're still inferring motivation from body language and context. So let's move on to the next one, which gives a whole new meaning to the Christmas classic. Reindeer getting high on mushrooms. Across Northern Europe and parts of Russia, people have watched reindeer deliberately seek out fly agaric mushrooms. Those classic little red and white caps from Alice in Wonderland. Look very whimsical and lovely, and reindeer agree, which that alone sounds like a little fairy tale crossover episode.
That's cute.
The reindeer have genuinely been seen digging through snow to get to them, and even fighting over access when there's not a lot around. They're into these mushrooms. So let's check out the video. Luckily, I guess perhaps 15 years ago, BBC did a whole thing on animals getting high in a weird way.
BBC for a name of a wildlife show was probably the craziest decision ever.
It's 2 pixels. BBC made it 2 pixels, so. God damn, incredible shots. Hell yeah. Some high quality production from BBC Studios. Thank you very much. Okay, so what's the deal with the mushrooms? Fly agaric mushrooms are packed with psychoactive compounds, which in humans can cause visual distortions, ataxia, that feeling like you can't walk straight.
I don't like that.
The visions that you see in movies where somebody's really fucked up, from their perspective, what that looks like. Observers describe reindeer that have eaten these mushrooms as running in odd, aimless patterns, making unusual vocalizations, generally moving in a way that looks drunk or disoriented compared to their normal herding behavior. This seems like a stronger actual recreational drug use situation than the dolphins. Modern naturalists, and also groups who have lived with reindeer for thousands of years, seem to agree. Sami and other Arctic peoples use fly agaric in rituals, and like they said in the video, sometimes drank the urine of intoxicated reindeer. The idea was that the animals would metabolize some more of the toxic components, leaving a filtrate that still contained enough trippy shit to alter consciousness with fewer side effects. If humans are getting high from the runoff, it seems like the reindeer
Drinking reindeer piss to get high? Nah, you've gone too far, gang.
getting
You've gone too far.
Well. All right, we're gonna move away from the trippy shit and into getting sloshed. The natural world is littered with alcohol due to the process of natural fermentation. As fruit ripens, then over-ripens, yeast turns sugar into ethanol. Boom, you've got yourself a fruit cocktail, and the bats are all over it. Fruit eating and nectar feeding bats specifically. Any night out can be a bar crawl for them. But the question is, do their bodies process the alcohol differently, or are these bats indefinitely tipsy? Luckily, this answer has some scientific papers to back it up. So, this study in Belize worked with 6 species of leaf-nosed bats. Researchers tested sugar water, either with or
Ew, I'm sorry, but what? That looks like something straight off Resident Evil. What the fuck?
without about 1.5% ethanol, which is like less than a light beer. Then measured their blood alcohol via their saliva. Some bats hit 0.3% BAC, so like more than 3 times the legal limit, by the way, which is 0.08. This is 0.3, not 0.03, 0.3. They're fucked up. Then they flew the bats through an obstacle course while recording echolocation. Despite the arrestable blood alcohol percentages, the bats on ethanol showed really no differences in flight performance or sonar compared to the sober bats. These species seem to be extremely high-functioning alcoholics, but other bats can have a totally different reaction. There was a later study on Egyptian fruit bats.
They're functioning drunks.
The diet with like 1% ethanol, which is like the level in overripe fruit. Then they flew them down a 22-foot corridor, and what do you know? The bats flew significantly slower than when they'd had ethanol-free food. Their echolocation also got sloppier. The gap between their click pairs shrank. Also, the timing between their calls became irregular. They also produced more single clicks instead of their normal paired pattern. They were slurring their words. But it actually looks like Egyptian fruit bats in their regular work week out in the wild, clocking into their 9 to 5. Try to avoid ethanol entirely. They prefer fruit with low ethanol content and tend to avoid any fruit with over 1% ethanol in it.
Well,
so
yeah,
all around, bats seem to not be the biggest partiers. Unlike the next one on the list, the vervet monkey, who would genuinely be lined up at the bar with you.
Those are the monkeys that like steal your wallet and shit, right? That looks like the monkey that you see in those videos where they just like come up and just like take something out of your hands. Like they have no feelings toward you, whatever. They're just like, that, I'm gonna take that.
If people let them. I've had my own experiences with vervet monkeys. They're they're like little rats. They're rats with thumbs is what they are.
See,
They're
I
all
told
over
you.
Kenya, and when I first went to work with Save the Elephants, which by the way, I'm going back in September and I'm really excited. And the vervet monkeys there, if you leave anything out, any sort of food, obviously, but they take camera shit, they take plastic bags, little Ziploc bags, then they go up to the roof and they mess with it and then you can never get it back. They're cute, they're really cute, but they are they're little maniacs is what they are.
Vervet monkeys, told you.
From Africa, but humans introduced.
And isn't that because of humans? Like humans got them so accustomed to that. I think it's humans' fault that they act that way, right? Someone correct me if I'm wrong.
These vervet monkeys to islands like St. Kitts in the Caribbean hundreds of years ago to be pets, which is its own whole other issue that we're not going to get into. Because what we need to talk about is the fact that these monkeys learned pretty quick. The humans tend to leave really delicious, sugary, fermentable items lying around. This understanding has progressed into sugarcane raids, cocktail theft, drinking from open containers, and seeming to have an absolute blast doing it. So luckily, this one was a case that scientists got all over. In one classic study, researchers offered 196 feral vervet monkeys a choice between plain 3% sucrose and the same sucrose spiked with ethanol. About 17% of them voluntarily chose the alcoholic drink and stuck with it, increasing both how much they drank and the concentration of alcohol they tolerated over time. Some monkeys went hard enough to literally drink themselves unconscious. When the alcohol was suddenly removed, they showed signs of withdrawal, like tremors, pacing, irritability, and more aggression. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? And it gets better. When you track individuals over longer periods, vervets fall into categories reminiscent of our own as humans. Some basically never drink, sober monkeys. Some drink moderately in social contexts. A smaller subset are the alcoholics, like heavy drinkers.
Oh, that makes sense.
Keep going until their health tanks. In one St. Kitts colony, only about 12% drank over 5 grams of ethanol per kilogram per day, and less than 5% repeatedly drank enough that if you didn't stop them, they'd die of liver or heart damage within a few months. So you've got social drinkers, steady drinkers, binge drinkers. That's what researchers call them, because the range of patterns is so similar. These monkeys are just getting fucked up in the Caribbean if they choose to do so. Let's check it out. Little rats, dude.
Little rats.
God damn. Just causing a fucking ruckus everywhere they go. So drunk he can't walk straight. Wow. All right. Some animals live in a society under a surveillance state where even the accidental drop will have them exiled or even executed. Honeybees live in a world where their water can randomly turn into wine, nectar, and sap, or just sugar water. If wild yeasts get in and start fermenting, that sugar becomes ethanol. So a bee foraging on overripe fruit, fermenting sap, or old nectar can get absolutely fucked.
Do they do it on
Laboratory
purpose?
evidence backs this up. When individual honeybees are fed sucrose solutions with increasing ethanol, they show classic intoxication, reduced walking and flying, more time lying still or on their backs, impaired coordination. As they experience repeated doses, they can develop tolerance where they need higher ethanol concentrations to show the same behavioral impairment, making bees quite the useful invertebrate model for some aspects of alcohol effects. And in the wild, drunk bees also look drunk. They're not able to handle it like the New World bats. They fly all wobbly, bump into shit, sometimes fall to the ground, and lie there, twitching. To some, this might sound like a grand old time, but that is where you would be incorrect. The hive doesn't take too kindly to drunk bees. Guard bees at the entrance check returning workers. Make sure everything's up to code. If the bee is clearly intoxicated, smells like fermented nectar, moves all weird, they bar the doors. They exile the bee. A drunk bee is a threat to the honey supply inside. If contaminated nectar gets stored with the rest, the hive is fucked. Reports from beekeepers have described drunk bees being dragged dragged away from the hive, sometimes attacked by guards, and left to die outside. Maybe even legs ripped off. No tolerance for alcohol here. No, no, no. Bad day to be a drunk bee, but a good day to be a cat.
Yo, that's
in households
sick.
all around the world. With, you guessed it, catnip.
Catnip,
Unlike bees,
yeah.
whose government bans the use of alcohol and drugs, the house cat's government, i.e. us, not only condone it, but encourage it. We love to see our cats playing with catnip. What the hell even is it? What even does it do? Now we have a cat for ambiance. Yeah. Cat for ambiance.
Yeah, what does catnip? How does
Catnip
catnip
is
work?
a plant in the mint family. The key active compound that makes cats go crazy is called nepentolactone, a sniffable substance. When an interested and responsive cat gets a whiff, it triggers neural pathways that essentially mimic feline sex pheromones. They're rolling all over the place, vocalizing, spazzing out. I'm sure you're very familiar. It's quite the euphoric experience for them, so it seems. The whole thing lasts like 10 to 15 minutes, pretty quick high, that's followed by a crash as the cat is zonked out. Turns out not all cats have a response to catnip. Only like 50 to 70% of domestic cats. If they do respond to it, they actively seek it out, probably going back to the catnip toys over the other ones. Or if there's a catnip plant available, they chew on the leaves. Pretty classic case of recreational drug use, so it seems. As you would expect, that doesn't seem to be the original purpose of the compounds of catnip. A study in 2020 traced the origin of nepentolactone in catnip, showing that catnip substance machinery diverged from typical mint defense chemistry and evolved a distinctive cat attractant profile, probably shaped by selection for anti-insect defense, but then hijacked by felines. Later work showed that when cats roll in nepentolactone-containing plants, the compounds that get on their fur repel mosquitoes and other biting insects. So getting high doubles as bug spray. It's a win-win 2-for-1 deal. And as you would expect, scientists are now looking into catnip as an alternative to DEET. As I explained a few weeks ago, there might be some tolerance being built up and maybe even attraction to DEET being built up in mosquitoes. But anyway, there's always a cousin that'll join you for a particular little walk before Thanksgiving.
I knew it, bro. Mosquitoes are getting used to bug spray, like mosquito repellent. They're getting used to that shit. I saw a picture of a mosquito with its little nozzle, its nose, inside the hole of mosquito repellent, as if it was sucking out the mosquito repellent. Craziest shit I've ever seen.
Dinner. And for house cats, that's jaguars. And as you would expect, big cousin has the good shit. Yaji, a vine found deep
Such
in
a
the
beautiful
Amazon.
animal.
Famous as one of the core ingredients of ayahuasca. If you're not familiar with ayahuasca, it's this traditional brew made by indigenous peoples of the Amazon. It has a pretty intense effect. The other core ingredient is a plant that contains DMT. So as you would expect, people report a variety of spiritual experiences. Traditionally, indigenous groups have used it socially and ceremonially. Today, its significance has spread international, most notably among the modern yoga community. The yaji itself doesn't contain DMT. That comes from the other plant that the jaguar isn't chewing on. The yaji is rich in these certain alkaloids that can alter how the brain handles stuff like serotonin and dopamine. In humans, those are what make ayahuasca orally active when combined with DMT-containing plants. On their own, they can still produce altered states, sedation, shifts in perception. There's a legend or like a story in these indigenous groups that humans learned about yaji from jaguars. Apparently, shamans watched jaguars chew the vine and saw them enter this kind of trance-like or ecstatic state, and they were like, hey, that seems pretty fucking cool. Let's try it out too. Hey, that's very rude and inappropriate. You're on camera. Thank you. Jaguars are often seen as like these beings that move between human and spirit worlds. Some gods are based on jaguars. So it's not surprising that humans would pick up on what they're putting down. You know? Apparently, ayahuasca visions frequently feature jaguars as guides or challengers. Which, hey, does that mean the jaguars are right there with them? Hard to say.
I love jaguars.
Maybe they're all entering the realms of the yaji in a parallel universe. But hey, impossible to say. All of this is observational, anecdotal, the jaguars specifically. Like a lot of the situations on this list, there's no controlled studies. Saying they seek it out.
Siri, what does anecdotal mean?
Anecdotal means of an account, not necessarily true or reliable, because based on personal accounts rather than facts or research.
Anecdotal. Whoa.
It's still a hypothesis, scientifically. But there is a video of a cute little jaguar chewing on the vines and getting high. So we're gonna watch that. That's your big cousin. Wow, Nico, look. Look.
Nico does not care, bro.
Gorgeous. Oh, to be a jaguar in the Amazon rainforest chewing on yaji vines. There's some other animals that have different stories about them getting high, getting drunk, whatever. Maybe I'll do another follow-up.
Oh my God.
I think there's enough for it. So I hope you enjoyed this trip to the space zone, the stone zone. And if you like it, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next video coming out. Stop it. Keep up with behind-the-scenes content, live streams, and a Discord server on Patreon. And for now, stay curious. The world has a lot for us to learn. See ya!
Yo, shout out Lindsay Nicole. Thank you for the fire video, dude.